Pick the right Ram 1500, and you've got a truck that will run past 300,000 miles on oil changes and basic maintenance. Pick the wrong one, and you're looking at a $7,000 cam and lifter failure that shows up right after the warranty expires. The difference isn't luck, and it isn't maintenance. It's a series of design decisions Ram made to hit fuel economy numbers on a window sticker, and the owners who paid for those decisions paid with repair orders, not with miles per gallon. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what those decisions were, which trucks carry them, and the one Ram that was built before any of it started. There's also a second flaw, an electrical one, that's more dangerous than the mechanical failure because it's completely invisible until the day it isn't. That one comes up in the middle of this list, and it's the reason one specific model year costs more to own than almost any other Ram on the used market. 2019 Ram 1500, synthetic oil, every 5,000 miles, dealer serviced every visit, 62,000 miles on the odometer. One morning, the eTorque system failed and the truck wouldn't start. The repair order came back over $2,000, and parts were back ordered nationwide. He waited months. For a truck he'd done everything right on, the window sticker didn't tell him what the dealer already knew. That's not a maintenance story. It's a design story. And what I cannot get past is that while he was waiting, and experienced owners across the early 5th generation Ram documented in federal complaint filings, the system shipped standard on every new Ram coming off the line. But here's the thing. That $2,000 electrical failure is actually the cheap problem on this list. There's a mechanical flaw buried inside the Hemi engine that's more common, more expensive, and Ram has known about it since 2006. The 5.7-liter Hemi was a solid engine until 2006, when Ram added MDS to hit EPA numbers. MDS, the multi-displacement system, shuts down 4 cylinders at cruise to save fuel. When the system works, it saves a few miles per gallon. When it fails, the repair runs $3,500 to $7,000. The real reason most Rams fail before 200,000 miles is that the hardware required to save a few miles per gallon can't survive 200,000 miles of heat cycles. That same pattern plays out with eTorque on 2019 and newer models. A 48-volt battery pack behind the rear seat and a belt starter generator can leave you stranded, and repairs run about $2,000 installed when parts are even available. But MDS and eTorque are only half the story. There's a third failure mode that has nothing to do with fuel economy hardware. It's a fuse box that turns your truck into a haunted house and costs over $2,000 to fix. That one lands hardest on a specific model year where it overlaps with the MDS cam and lifter failure at the same time. 2 separate repair bills on one truck. That section is coming up. What follows isn't a list of bad years. It's the paper trail, the specific model years where those decisions landed hardest, and where the repair orders prove it. 2019, the eTorque experiment. The 2019 Ram 1500 was the first year of the 5th generation, and it arrived with more federal recall campaigns than any previous Ram 1500 generation. Power steering failures at highway speed, fuel pump relay failures that could stall the truck without warning, brake problems, and electrical faults were all reported. The headline failure was eTorque. Ram replaced the traditional alternator with a belt starter generator and a 48-volt battery pack behind the rear seat. When it failed, parts were back-ordered nationwide for months. Rear window seals leaked on many of these trucks, and water dripped directly onto that battery pack. Ram shipped that design anyway. If you see a 2019 on a used lot and the price looks too good, now you know why. The 2020 and later models sorted most of these issues out, but the first year, trucks carry the scars. And if the electrical failure on the 2019 sounds expensive, the next section is a different category entirely. A year where 2 separate failure modes hit the same truck at the same time, and the combined repair bill can exceed what the truck is worth. 2012, the perfect storm. The 2012 Ram 1500 is where 2 separate failure modes land on the same truck at the same time. The TIPM, the electronic fuse box running your fuel pump, horn, windows, and starter, fails and turns your truck into a haunted house. Horns blaring at 3 in the morning, fuel pump relays dying overnight, wipers turning on by themselves. A replacement runs $1,000 to over $2,000. Chrysler issued federal recall campaign 14-530, covering the same TIPM 7 module, but only for 2011. Dodge Durango and Jeep Grand Cherokee models, approximately 188,000 vehicles. Ram trucks with the identical part were never included. At the same time, the 2012 sits in the peak failure window for MDS lifter and camshaft damage. MDS uses roller lifters with needle bearings roughly the size of a grain of rice. Think of each one like a tiny shock absorber inside the engine, supposed to compress and extend smoothly thousands of times a day. But if the oil film drops at the wrong moment, it locks. When it locks, it does not just stop working. It drags across the camshaft lobe underneath it until that lobe is ground flat, then sends metal through your entire engine. The first sign is a faint tick at cold. Startup your dealer will call normal Hemi noise. It is not normal. Car Complaints documents 22 reports for this exact failure on the 2012 Ram, averaging $5,260 at just over 119,000 miles. On a truck worth $8,000 to $12,000, that repair exceeds the truck's value. Avoid it entirely. From 2014 to 2016, the EcoDiesel boogeyman. The same trade-off story runs even worse on the diesel side. Ram needed a fuel economy option to compete on paper, so they sourced the 3.0-liter EcoDiesel with a European high-pressure fuel pump and shipped it into American trucks running American diesel. If you come across a 2014, 2015, or 2016 EcoDiesel and the price looks attractive, that's the first warning sign. The 3.0-liter EcoDiesel uses a Bosch CP4 high-pressure fuel pump designed for European diesel, which has a higher lubricity rating than US diesel. Run enough US diesel through it and metal particles shear off and push through your entire fuel system at injection pressure. Injectors, lines, the tank, all become contaminated. Owners call it the glitter bomb. The repair is a full fuel system replacement, $10,000 to $14,000, not counting secondary engine damage. If you're looking at one of these used, check whether a CP4 to CP3 conversion kit has already been installed. No paperwork, walk away. Every failure covered so far has cost you money. The next section is different. Now, here's where the investigation flips. Every failure covered so far traces back to a specific design decision made after a specific date. MDS arrived in the Ram 1500 for 2006. The TIPM started in 2006. eTorque came in 2019. The EcoDiesel CP4 pump landed in 2014. That means there are Ram 1500 model years that simply predate those decisions, trucks that never had the hardware that fails. Those are the ones worth your money. The Safe Harbors, 1998. The Magnum Standard. Before MDS, before TIPM, before eTorque. This is what a Ram 1500 looked like when the only engineering priority was making the engine last. The 1998 Dodge Ram 1500 with the 5.2-liter Magnum V8 is one of the most reliable engines Chrysler ever built. Documented past 300,000 miles on basic maintenance, nothing fancy inside to fail. One thing to fix, and it is cheap. Every Magnum V8 from this era has a plenum gasket that will frill. Crankcase oil gets sucked into the intake, fouling plugs and killing oxygen sensors. The fix is a $160 aluminum replacement plate. Do it once, it is done permanently. The 46IRE automatic needs ATF plus 4 fluid. Use the wrong fluid, and you will rebuild the transmission by 150,000 miles. Clean examples run $4,000 to $8,000, depending on mileage and region. Add the plenum plate and a fluid service, and you have got a truck that will run for years without drama. 2005, the sweet spot. The 2005 Ram 1500 with the 5.7-liter Hemi is special because of everything it skips. There is no MDS on this truck. That system did not arrive until 2006, which means the lifters on a 2005 operate the same way every single time. No switching back and forth, no extra oil passages to clog, no roller bearings getting starved. The risk of catastrophic lifter failure on a pre-MDS Hemi is practically zero. You also get a mechanical fuse box with physical relays instead of the TIPM that started in 2006. If a relay fails, you pull it out and plug in a new one for $10. The haunted house electrical gremlins do not apply here. The 2005 also got updated valve springs over the 2003 and 2004 Hemis, fixing the misfire issue that hit those early years. Stronger springs, no MDS complexity. That is the sweet spot. The only recurring issue is exhaust manifold bolts. Cast iron manifolds bolted to aluminum heads expand at different rates during heat cycles until a bolt snaps. Cold, start the engine and listen for a tick that fades as it warms up. That is exhaust bolts, and it is a $300 to $800 fix. A tick that stays or gets louder after warm-up is a different problem entirely. Catch it early and it is manageable. Let it go and you will crack the manifold. Run the vehicle identification number through the Federal Safety Database before you buy and check the build sheet for MDS coding. Clean 2005, Hemis sell for $5,000 to $12,000. For a V8 truck that dodges the two biggest Hemi headaches entirely, that is, a strong buy. 2019 to 2024. Classic, the best kept secret. The Ram 1500 Classic from 2019 through 2024 is the best kept secret in the lineup. When the 5th generation launched in 2019, Ram kept building the 4th generation alongside it and sold it as the Classic. Same assembly line, same proven drivetrain, lower price than the new truck. You get the 5.7-liter Hemi paired with ZF's 8-speed. The same combination that made the 2017 and 2018 models the most reliable Rams on the road. No eTorque, no 48-volt battery pack, no belt starter generator. Ram discontinued the Classic after 2024, so used is your only option now. Used prices run $15,000 to $28,000. One customer has a 2021 Classic Warlock with over 160,000 miles. The only non-routine repair has been an oxygen sensor. 2022. The best modern Ram. The 2022 Ram 1500 is the one modern Ram I'd point you toward. By 2022, Ram had 5 full production years on the 5th generation platform. The first year electrical issues were long gone. Uconnect 5 software was stable. Build quality hit its peak. More than that, 2022 was the last year you could get a 5.7-liter Hemi without eTorque being mandatory. Starting in 2023, eTorque became standard on every Hemi 1500. For 2025, Ram dropped the Hemi entirely in favor of the Hurricane engine. The Hemi returns for 2026, but with eTorque standard across the board. That makes a 2022 non-eTorque Hemi the newest, most refined version of the simple Hemi powertrain you can buy. To confirm before you buy, pull the window sticker and check the engine bay. A non-eTorque truck has a conventional alternator, not a belt starter generator. Stick with a Bighorn or Laramie on standard coil springs. Rebelle and Longhorn trims with air suspension can fail as early as 50,000 miles, at over $2,000 per corner. Used 2022 models run $30,000 to $45,000, depending on trim and mileage. The one that never will. Here's the payoff this video promised at the start. The one Ram that avoids every failure mode covered here is the 2005 Ram 1500 Hemi. No MDS means no lifter seizure risk. No TIPM means no fuse box gremlins. No eTorque means no battery failure. The Hemi itself was never the problem. The problem was every system Ram bolted onto it after 2005 to hit a fuel economy number on a window sticker. A lot of people ask about the Hemi tick. If you hear a faint tick on cold startup that goes away once the engine warms up, that is exhaust manifold bolts. Catch it early and it is $300 to $800. Let it go and you will crack the manifold. Lifter noise does not disappear when the engine warms up. It gets worse. Find a clean 2005 Hemi, run the vehicle identification number, check for MDS coding on the build sheet, fix the exhaust bolts when they tick, and drive it. What to do right now? If you own a 2006 or newer Hemi with MDS, disable it. An MDS delete kit runs a few $100s and eliminates the failure mode entirely. That is the difference between a few $100s now and a $3,500 to $7,000 cam and lifter job later. If your Ram has the ZF 8-speed, change the fluid every 50,000 miles. Ram calls it a lifetime fill. ZF, the company that built the transmission, publishes a service document recommending changes every 50,000 miles. Those two things can't both be true. A $300 fluid service now saves a $4,000 rebuild later. If you are shopping used, run the vehicle identification number through the Federal Safety Database, check the build date, confirm eTorque status on anything 2019 or newer, and ask whether the TIPM was ever replaced before you sign anything. If this video found you before the repair order, that is exactly what this channel is here for. Subscribe.